One of the teams that I'm most excited to monitor through the 2025 college football season is going to be last season's runner up in the national championship, and that is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame, I believe, is one of the most well coached programs in the entire country, led by head coach Marcus Freeman. And he's done a really good job of helping to reestablish Notre Dame as a college football powerhouse. There were a few years in there where it wasn't looking bright for Notre Dame, but over the last few seasons, this is a team that has really returned to prominence, and I expect a big year for the Fighting Irish this season, and it starts on the offensive side of the football. Yes, this is a team that lost a couple of playmakers. You lost Bo Collins, you lost Chris Mitchell, but I think most importantly, it is the quarterback position. While Riley Leonard might not have been the most efficient passer in the 2025 NFL draft, he still was a legitimate threat for this Notre Dame offense, and that was fully seen in the national championship game on the opening drive. His toughness, I think, was a big part of what helped propel this Notre Dame team into national contender status. After the week 2 loss, this is a team that really bounced back, and they are going to have some big shoes to fill. Luckily, they have a young quarterback up and coming that I tend to have some faith in CJ Carr. CJ Carr is an interesting one because while he hasn't played in any college games up to this point, you can see the upside, whether it be when watching the spring games or when it be watching his high school tape. This is a player that has everything that you could look for. He's really accurate. He can throw on the run and off platform. I thought he had good pocket feel. He's a very smart quarterback. At 6'3", 209 pounds, Carr was a 4-star recruit from the 2024 class that many people have compared to Mac Jones. He's a very different type of quarterback for this Notre Dame offense, but I think they have built a team around him that should really thrive. And it starts with the big-time acquisitions that this team made on the transfer portal. They went out and acquired Malachi Fields from Virginia, who has put up back-to-back 800-yard seasons. They went out and got a super senior in Will Pauling from Wisconsin, and you are returning a player that really burst onto the scene in the second half of last year in wide receiver Jaden Greathouse. But Notre Dame, without a doubt, is going to continue to live off of what got them to the national championship game last year, and that's the run game. Jeremiah Love, I think now with Ashton Jeanty headed to the NFL, Jeremiah Love is the clear-cut best running back in college football. He has it all, from contact balance to explosive speed to power to receiving upside. I think he has the potential to be a top 15 pick in next year's draft, but they also have really good depth behind him. Jadarian Price is a really good change of pace back. He doesn't have the craziest upside, but he's really quick. He's light on his feet. Those two make a great 1-2 punch, especially when you have an offensive line that is returning most of its starters from last year outside of Pat Coogan. I'm really excited about what this Notre Dame offense is going to be able to accomplish because I think for the first time, Notre Dame is going to have a very balanced attack. They're going to be able to run the football. I don't think there's any questions about that, but I really think they're going to be able to challenge teams vertically. CJ Carr's got a fantastic arm. If this team can really start to develop some of that outside passing game, I think they're going to be one of the toughest teams to stop in college football. They've got all the weapons that you could imagine. They've got an offensive line that is very talented, even with Charles Jagusaw expected to miss a good portion of the season. I'm all in on this Notre Dame offense. It's the defense where I think there are a few more questions than we had last year. Notre Dame defensive coordinator ended up going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Al Golden is taking the job to be the defensive coordinator in Cincinnati. So Notre Dame hired Chris Ash, the former head coach from Rutgers. And this is just a defense that has a lot of moving pieces. A lot of guys that played in rotational roles last year, but this team lost a lot of talent defensively. Xavier Watts, their star safety, he went to the NFL. You lost both starting defensive tackles in Howard Cross and in Riley Mills. RJ Oben you lost to the NFL draft. This is a team that I think has some big shoes to fill, but I like some of the talent that they have defensively, and their secondary is still one of the best in the country. You are returning a true freshman superstar in Leonard Moore, who was the best cornerback in college football, at least up there as a true freshman. He was absolutely fantastic, and as a guy that you can only expect to get better from here. I'm really excited to see what he can look like in this new defense. They went out and they got Devonta Smith from Alabama to kind of play that nickel role. And there's going to be new opportunities for some players that definitely showed flashes last year. I liked some of what we saw from Gabriel Rubio, from Boubacar Traore, from Drake Bowen, Jalen Sneed. The defense, while it does have questions, again, this is where I give the benefit of the doubt to the coaching staff. Marcus Freeman has done a fantastic job of recruiting. They ranked 12th in the 2025 recruiting class. They are 37th in terms of transfer class. I think this is a team with everything that you look for from a talent perspective. And with the coaching staff, I trust their ability to evaluate talent and bring in players that they believe are going to help them contend for a national title. And I expect Notre Dame to do that this year. They are plus 1,300 in national title odds, and their over-under is 10.5 games. I think this is a very balanced roster with a lot of players that I think could be difference makers. I also think this is a team that has a lot of upside. Last year, I think you were kind of limited because Riley Leonard is what he is. But if CJ Carr is better than we expect, this team could really go on an absolute run. And I'm excited to see what they can accomplish. Now, I do believe this season is going to be a bit more challenging than it was last year simply because of the schedule. They open the season with a road game at Miami with a bye, and then they follow that up versus Texas A&M. Two very tough opponents and two teams that are going to be ranked in the top 25 going into the year. They get Purdue at home, but then they've got another really difficult two-game stretch. At Arkansas is not an easy game. We saw it last year. Tennessee played at Arkansas, lost that game. And then you got Boise State. While that is a home game, Boise State is still going to be a legitimate threat in the Mountain West and in the college football world. USC at home, that's not an easy game. I think USC is a well-coached team that has a lot of talent and has really improved their defense. This is a really difficult schedule, but if they are able to come out of this team is going to be on another level, I think, when it comes to the playoffs, and I do believe they are going to do that. As you see, the key players for this team are the running back room. I love their wide receiver depth. I love the offensive line, and Leonard Moore, I think, has some legitimate upside. I'm picking Notre Dame to finish 11-1. I think they're going to be super exciting. I love the coaching staff. I love everything that this team has put together, from the trench play to the skill positions. I like the quarterback position for this team, and I think this team has a legitimate chance to win a national title in 2025.